Super Mario Party Jamboree TV has just been released, and somehow NDCube managed to miss what should have been an easy layup. It was already disappointing enough to know that the updated Switch 2 version of the game wouldn't be receiving any additional boards, but now that it's been released, numerous other issues and baffling decisions have come to light. Instead of upgrading the base game with all new content, the developers instead decided to go the route of Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, and treat Jamboree TV as an entirely separate entity. This wouldn't be a problem, except for the fact that the base version of Jamboree didn't get updated at all, and most of its content, including the Pro Rules mode it introduced, is not available for play on the enhanced Jamboree TV. Needless to say, this upgrade pack is not worth the money when compared to the free upgrades for other games given to NSO members, and if you're a fan of Super Mario Party Jamboree, you won't be missing much by sticking with the Switch 1 version. That said, I'd recommend picking up the Switch version of the game to anyone who hasn't played it because it is the best Mario Party game of all time. Of course, that's just my subjective opinion, but I really think Jamboree got so many things right with its new gameplay elements and boards. However, as much as I like the game and enjoy its take on the Ally system, it is a game that makes a ton of bad decisions that prevent it from being the best version of itself. That's what makes Jamboree TV so disappointing, because Super Mario Party Jamboree should be even better than it is, and this was the perfect opportunity to clean up its rough edges and make it the ultimate Mario Party experience. For instance, why didn't Super Mario Party Jamboree TV reintroduce the feature that allows you to extend a game by adding more turns to the round? That was such a welcome addition to the franchise because it gave a solution to those moments where you didn't want to stop playing, but also didn't want to commit to a whole other game. It was such an amazing quality of life feature that I figured it would be a forever staple of the franchise moving forward, and I honestly can't think of one good reason an option like that wasn't included in Jamboree originally. It makes me wonder why NDCube is so intent on handicapping themselves when over half a dozen titles, including some of their own, have given them the blueprints for success. Unfortunately, the thought process that leads to a decision like that also feels like the same type of thought process that feels directly responsible for certain content not receiving an upgrade when it should have. Constantly, this title was touted as having the most minigames in the series' history, but we found out that wasn't true unless you factored in modes like the Koopathlon and Rhythm Kitchen, and yet no one valued them enough to upgrade them along with the boards. It just doesn't make sense that a majority of the content that the base version of Jamboree was marketed around wouldn't receive the updates that its boards did. And I can't understand why I would ever pay $20 for an upgrade that doesn't even enhance half of the game's content when it's being marketed around side modes that the developers have shown clearly don't matter to them. Personally, I think it's ridiculous, but at the same time, I'm not nearly as concerned with the side content as I am with the lack of updates to the main content. Jamboree had some unique ideas like Pro Rules that were fun but flawed, and I was excited to see how they altered it, if at all. Well, not only did they not change a thing, but instead of giving players something like the ability to play Pro Rules for more or less than 12 turns, they excluded the mode from Jamboree TV altogether. So now if you want to play a game of Pro Rules to mix things up every once in a while, you will have to continue to play on a noticeably worse looking and running version of the game despite its $80 price tag and the fact that you're using better hardware. This should be a travesty for fans of Jamboree for several reasons, but for me it just places a spotlight back on the shortcomings of Jamboree that I've learned to overlook since its release. Its minigames come to mind because while I enjoy a lot of them, including some of Jamboree TV's new mouse-based games, there are still too few if you don't have a Joy-Con for all players. Not only can you not play most of the new minigames in Jamboree TV without a Joy-Con, but you can also miss out on all motion minigames, which makes up a sizable chunk of the pool available to you in party mode. This makes the minigames that are still available feel pretty repetitive after even just one round on every one of Jamboree's boards, which is frustrating when you know how many total minigames there are in the game. Missing out on content like getting Rosalina to appear as an ally feels bad when it's linked to specific hardware, as even games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band allow you to play with a controller if that's all you have. Though I get they are trying to push the new features of the Switch 2 controller, it is extremely irritating that the pool of games is so limited because an extra set of Joy-Cons for either system is expensive, and feels a bit unnecessary if you can already play the game 4-player with Pro or GameCube controllers. There should have been workarounds for at least some of the minigames, because when I have to miss out on the variety that comes from motion games, it just reminds me of all the other things this game is missing that it should have already, like extensive customization options. I've complained about this before in my video about Mario Party Superstars, but I feel even more strongly about it now that Jamboree TV has taken away options from the players once again. It just feels silly to restrict content while having pointless caps on things like the number of turns you play and the number of and specific type of bonus stars awarded each round. At this point, we should have more control over our experience, just like how we can create house rules for any other in-person board game. We should be able to turn off certain minigames we don't like, remove specific bonus stars from the pool at the end, or eliminate problematic items from the shops. We should, in theory, be able to make our own version of Pro Rules if that's what we really wanted, but NDCube and Nintendo as a whole just seem so far behind when it comes to giving players the freedom to play how they want. It sucks because the binary choices we're given often make the game less fun to play overall, and Jamboree would be better if it provided more flexibility within its rules. With that in mind, Jamboree tries to compensate by adding new ways to play like frenzy rules and tag team rules, but it's not enough to make up for what is missing. For example, I remember playing Mario Party 2 as a kid and how nice it was to be able to have one of my siblings hop into an ongoing game if they had just gotten back from school or doing something else. Similarly, it was great at that young age to be able to turn the difficulty of my opponents down or even switch characters mid-game because I'm sure it saved me from a bad mood or two back in the day. While not essential features, they were appreciated, and it's shameful that Jamboree doesn't have the same tools that a game released last millennium did. I'm being a bit dramatic when I say millennium, of course, but it truly doesn't feel right that a game that is getting its second release in less than a year and can receive updates online at any point doesn't have features from a game in its own franchise that's over 2.5 decades old. It's why I simply can't recommend Jamboree TV to anyone because it feels like they didn't put any effort into it. Instead of addressing legitimate issues with the original like its extremely slow pacing, they instead focused on increased performance for a game that never had issues in that department to begin with. I don't think a single person who played Super Mario Party Jamboree thought that its technical details were its biggest problems, and I wish the developers had tackled actual fan concerns or requests like unlockable alternate costumes for the characters a la Mario Kart World. This update needed to do so much more to justify its $80 price tag and $20 upgrade fee, and it's embarrassing that an easy slam dunk might turn into something that hurts the game's reputation in the long term. New boards, new characters, and new minigames that weren't attached to gimmicks are what people really wanted to see in Super Mario Party Jamboree TV, and we got none of it. What we got instead is a tone-deaf, quote-unquote upgrade that largely missed its opportunities to fix and clean up the missteps of the original. Sure, the enhanced resolution and performance is nice, but you seriously need to reevaluate your life if that is what is important to you when playing a round of Mario Party. That said, I still love Super Mario Party Jamboree for its incredible boards, fun strategic gameplay, and excellent polish and attention to detail, but I can't lie that I'm a little sad that much like Mario Party Superstars, it likely won't be as good as it could have been. But I want to hear your thoughts on Super Mario Party Jamboree TV in the comments down below. Am I being too critical of this update, or do you agree with my points? Let me know what you think, and if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing with notifications turned on so you can be alerted whenever I release a new video. Thanks for watching.